What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for May 16th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a feel-good Friday edition of the podcast. We got a lot to get into, so let's jump right into it. And we're going to start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day. I asked you, now that the schedule's out, how many wins do you see the Eagles having? And man, the listeners are way higher on this than what I am. 50% of you said 13 wins or more. 90% said 12 wins or more. And listen, I'm right there in that 11-12 win range. And the more I thought about it, I probably was a little bit conservative on my choices. There was a lot of swing games that I think could have gone either way. But I think sometimes when we look at this, I was listening to the WIP afternoon show, and that probably was my first mistake. But Ike was high on the Eagles, but they had them at like 9-10 wins, and I don't see that. And I think what sometimes we do when we look at the schedule and go wins, losses, we look at the other team sort of in isolation, and we don't look at the whole picture, obviously with the ebbs and flows of the season. But I think what we tend to do is undervalue or undersell just how good this Eagles team is. I mean, look what they've done the past 3 seasons. And to think that they're not going to get back to 12 wins again, I mean, they've done it 3 years in a row. So I think I'm a little bit more conservative with it. I struggle sometimes with the old Philly versus new Philly, to be completely honest with you. But, hey, I'll take it. And I think this team, and I think, too, so much is made of the schedule as well. I remember as a kid, it wasn't this big production or this big ordeal like the schedule leak. And yes, I know the TV and streaming and everything, it was different back then. But if you just played who was on the schedule. And nobody talked about, oh, this schedule's this schedule's that, because you never know. Right now, these teams are good, but one of these teams is going to fall off that's supposed to be good. One of the teams that's not supposed to be good is going to come out of nowhere and be good. So I think too much emphasis sometimes is put on that. It is a fun activity, though. The NFL, like I said, has grown so much and it's must watch. Like everybody was like on the edge, at least I was. I don't know about you, but I was on the edge of my seat all week, checking and refreshing, looking for leaks and whatnot. So take it for what it is. It's fun. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. There'll be another one later here in the show, but 90% of you think they're going to win 12 games or more.
It's time for Fridays with AI, where we ask AI to rewrite Philly sports history. Every Friday, only on This Day in Philly Sports History.
That's right. Time for Fridays with AI. And now that I just went on the little soliloquy about the overemphasizing the schedule and wins and losses in May, we're going to spend Fridays with AI and do just that. I figured, why not ask AI to simulate the Eagles 2025 season now that the schedule is out? Like I said, I had them at 11 and 12 wins. You guys all think 12 or more, or at least 90% of you. And even the 10% were still in the 10-11 win range. So it looks like a winning season. But what does AI think? So spent yesterday, a good part of yesterday, playing and talking with AI. And here's what AI says. Obviously, the AI came in higher than me. AI has the Eagles going 13-4. The losses to the Chiefs, the Vikings, Dallas, and Buffalo. Again, I had Minnesota's the surprising one. I had them losing to KC. I had them splitting with Dallas. They have them losing to Dallas in Dallas, by the way, not opening night. And that Buffalo game is another one of the coin flip games that I had. Some of the surprising results had the Tampa Bay game being close, which, I mean, Todd Bowles seems to have Jalen Hurts' number. Has them going to overtime against the Giants up in MetLife Stadium. Yikes. Close game against the LA Chargers out in LA, and I think a lot of people have that game circled as a potential trap game for the Eagles. Anyway, they have them beating the Lions, but in a ridiculous shootout. Remember that game for later on here in AI's prediction. But I think the surprising thing was they win pretty handily both Washington games. Like neither one of those games were close. So 13-4. What's it mean for the stats for the players? Jalen throws for 3,800 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, runs for another 6 touchdowns, is a top 5 MVP candidate. And I think this makes sense because the offense is going to have to be more wide open. You're not going to be able to just pound the ball to death with Saquon. I think you're going to see more of a balance. Kansas City laid out that blueprint sort of in the Super Bowl. Steve Spagnuolo was like, we're not letting Saquon Barkley beat us, and force Jalen to do it. And I think all the Jalen haters out there tend to forget that that's what he does. He proves the haters wrong. And that last year they won on the legs of Saquon Barkley, not necessarily because Jalen Hurts couldn't do it. It was just he didn't need to. But when he needed to do it, when he needed to make throws in the Washington game, did it. When he needed to make throws and make plays in the Super Bowl, he did it. So I think that is a good, realistic projection. They did give a plus or minus 200 yards, so he could sniff 4,000 yards. But plays in all 17 games, top 5 MVP candidate. A.J. Brown, 91 catches, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. Devontae, 78 catches for 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. And Dallas Goedert adds almost 60 receptions, catches 4 touchdowns in his make-or-break year. Does miss 4 games, though. Saquon goes over 1,000 yards again, 1,100. Much less than what he did last year. But again, teams are going to be keying on that, and it's going to be a more spread offense, according to AI. Scores 10 touchdowns, but once again plays in all 17 games. Defensively, that's the big question because they did lose a lot of pieces on the defensive sides, but AI says they're going to be not quite as dominant. Has them as a borderline top 5, definitely a top 10 defense, but they're opportunistic. Think back to the 2017 Super Bowl team and even that 2022 Super Bowl team coming up with big sacks when they needed it. Big turnovers. Jalen Carter is the MVP of the defense, 6.5 sacks. Reed Blankenship leads the team with interceptions. Didn't give a number, just said he led the team in interceptions. So defensively, they take a little bit of a step back, but, and I've said this before, I don't think this projection is far off because are they going to be the best defense in the league again next year? Hard to do that. I mean, even when Seattle and Baltimore and even the Eagles in the 80s and 90s were the best defenses in the league, they weren't number 1 across the board every single time. So taking a borderline top 5, top 10 defense with the offense, gladly, that was our biggest hope for last year. They exceeded the expectation. So I don't think that is far back. Now, what does it mean for the standings and the playoffs? Well, they win the NFC East with that, 2 games better than the Cowboys, who come in second. The Giants surprise everybody, win 7 games and finish third in the NFC East. Washington falls off the face of the earth, 6 wins, but they did say there's a lot of injuries they deal with. So I don't know if that is quarterback, offensive line, or what. So where do they go from there? So they win the NFC East. That's good enough for the 2 seed. San Francisco, they have bouncing back and dominating the NFC West and taking the 1 seed. So the Eagles with the 2 seed once again take on the Rams in the wild card round at the Link. 7-seeded Rams win that game pretty easily, they said, because by that point in the season, they said the Eagles will be clicking. Setting up what we wanted to have for the NFC Championship game last year, the Lions come to the Link in the divisional round. Another shootout. They say the Lions will nip the Eagles in overtime, though, in the NFC divisional round. So AI has the Eagles going 13-4, winning the NFC East before losing in the divisional round to the Lions. Not very far-fetched. I think of all of the AI conversations we've had since we've started this segment, probably the most realistic one. So AI 13-4, win the NFC East, lose in the divisional round. Let me know your thoughts on that not a question of the day, but how far do you trust AI on this one? And I'd like to officially announce, I announced yesterday I joined the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. The Discord channel is up. The link to join the Discord channel and have those conversations is in the description. So whether you're listening or watching this, go to the description. The link is in there. It should work. This is sort of a soft rollout. But let's talk about Fridays with AI and what is going on and what your thoughts are. All right, let's finish some housekeeping here. Like I mentioned, I'm happy and pleased to announce that I am part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Great opportunity for growth in the podcast. You won't notice much of a difference in far as the flow of the show. A lot of that will be back-end production stuff. So I'm very happy to join them. Be sure to go check them out yourselves, clashingconferences.com. They do have a sports fan network, so it's kind of a dual sort of thing where they help with production. It's a great place for smaller podcasters to get together, run ideas back and forth from each other. Obviously, with the new logo and some of the things I'm working on to kind of help promote this. But they do have their own podcast and their own sports fan network. I know a lot of these guys, great conversations, and it translates into the podcast. So go check out the Clashing Conferences podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. But like I said, the Discord channel is open. Click the link in the description, and it should take you there. It's an invitation. You just say accept, agree to the rules, and you're good to go. Right now, I only have 2 channels set up, Philly Sports Chat and the question of the day. But let's talk a little bit about the AI and what you guys think on that. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok, on Instagram at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott, and continue to spread the word as we grow this. Let's get members into the Discord channel and just have some good Philly sports talk. I am messing around with some new features and segments. You might see today I'm going to do like a little trivia, kind of like the Phillies do the Dodge Stump the Trivia question. We'll see how it goes, but all of that. So just stay tuned for some good things on the horizon. And every summer we do a tournament. We've done the Lovable Losers tournament. Last year we did the Ultimate Philly Sports Nickname tournament. Today we're going to have, or not today, but this summer we're going to do, I'm in the process of working on that now, the Greatest Season in Philly Sports History tournament. Still playing around with the brackets and getting the seasons and how we're going to set that up. But who had the greatest individual season in Philly sports history? Details on that are coming soon. Stotesbury Regatta is today, and I kind of miss this sometimes, not living right down there near the river in Kelly Drive. But the Stotesbury is the oldest and largest high school rowing regatta in the country. I've had the opportunity to attend both that and the Dadvale. Good time on the river throughout the weekend. Pain in the ass when you're trying to drive down Kelly Drive sometimes, but a fun time. But I had to mention that because it says a Philly-based podcast, Philly sports-based podcast, and this is the oldest and largest row. Some of you out there listening probably participated in this. And then one last little housekeeping note here. We talk all the time about Philly and people in Philadelphia and the southeastern Pennsylvania region. A lot of times we skip over our friends over in South Jersey who are just as part, and probably some of you are closer to the city than what we are. But I've seen this display before, but my pal Lenny Wagner reached out to me and asked me to mention this. There is an open house for the South Jersey Baseball Hall of Fame, May 21st, which is Wednesday at 6:30 at the William G. Rohr Center at the Camden County College in Cherry Hill. Pretty easy to get to. It's a straight shot, but pretty cool display and things they have going on there. And a lot of great names in baseball history are there, including Andrew Bailey, Raleigh Eastwick, Kid Gleason, Goose Goslin, Hank Greenberg, Mike Trout, and of course our friend who we've talked about numerous times on this podcast, Walter French. So the open house at the South Jersey Baseball Hall of Fame next Wednesday, May 21st at 6:30 at Camden County College in Cherry Hill. Go support that if you're in South Jersey or in Philly and you're a huge baseball fan. Go check it out. Like I said, the display is pretty cool. I've seen this before. So shout out to Lenny. Go buy his book, Playing with the Best, One Man's Journey Through the Golden Age of Sports, the story of Walter French. All right. Phil's back in action tonight against the Pirates down at Citizens Bank Park. Ranger Suarez takes the mound. Which Ranger are we going to see? The one from the first start or the one from the second? I sure as heck hope it's the second as the Phils look to get back on the winning side of things. And Paul Skeens will be pitching at Citizens Bank Park Sunday against Christopher Sanchez. Anxious to see him, not necessarily in person, but on TV and see what he's all about. But that does lead to today's question of the day. Two big stars still are struggling for the Phils right now, Aaron Nola and Bryce Harper. Of the two of them, which are you more confident in turning it around? Usually I would say Bryce on this is a slam dunk, but I'm concerned with both of them. Aaron Nola's 31, Bryce Harper's 32, and we've seen this with pitchers a lot where they just all of a sudden fall off the map. We kind of saw it with Cliff Lee, who quite literally, where is he, fell off the map. But Roy Halladay just, when he got to a certain age, it completely fell apart for him. Hopefully that's not the case with Nola and Bryce due to his violent swing and all that. I'm starting to get concerned as we're here in mid-May and he's still struggling. But who are you more confident in bouncing back, Aaron Nola or Bryce Harper? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off your chest. Go to the Discord channel. I have a question of the day. Poll, everything set up in there. Go get your voice heard there as well. And this is a new segment. I don't know if it's going to stick or not, but a little trivia. And I don't know about you. I love the Dodge Stump the Fan trivia when the Phillies broadcasters do it. I'm always like, I usually am like Kruk, where I'll get like 2 of 3 or 3 of 4. But the other night they had a question against the Cardinals, the only third baseman to ever have 8 or more Gold Gloves at third base. It was Brooks Robinson, Mike Schmidt, Scott Rowland, and the third baseman for the Cardinals. I can't think of his name right now, but there were only 4. So I just, of course, this is what I do. I went down a rabbit hole, and obviously we know 2 of these, but here's my trivia question for you. What 3 Phillies have won Gold Gloves at third base? Only 3 Phillies have won a Gold Glove at third base. 2 of them should be obvious to you. The third, not so much, because I did not get this one. So hit me up in the Discord channel with that, or on the Back to the Future voice and text line. What 3 Phillies have won Gold Gloves at third base? That is the Jimbo Stump the Fan trivia question of the day. Go do some shopping at Philly Goat. Ordered the slides for my kids yesterday. I feel like they just keep getting more and more options for the slides. Great for the pool, great for the beach. Father's Day's coming up. They have those Philly Fanatic Rocks glasses. If you forgot your mom on Mother's Day, they got a Phillies Mom collection. So go check out Philly Goat. And I've been saying this, but I really mean it. Scroll through the site. There's a ton of stuff in there. Be sure to use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right. I told you, we got a big show. Fridays are usually the biggest show we have, and I love it. It's a feel-good Friday, big shows. But today, May 16th was a big day in Sixers history. First, we're going to go back to 1980. And on this day in 1980, the Sixers were eliminated from the NBA Finals 123-107 down at the Spectrum by the Lakers. It was the second time in 4 years that they lost in 6 games in the NBA Finals. You might remember this game, or at least have heard about this game. I know I have an uncle who's a Lakers fan, used to tell me about this all the time. My dad used to talk about how mad he was about this. But this was the game that Magic Johnson filled in and started at center for an injured Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and all he did was score 42 points. Just insane. And he did this all as a rookie ended up winning the Finals MVP. But on this day in 1980, the Sixers' dream of an NBA title was dashed by the Lakers 123-107 at the Spectrum when Magic Johnson, rookie Magic Johnson, scored 42 points while starting at center for the Lakers, filling in for an injured Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And then on a more positive note, we're going to go back to 2001. And on this day in 2001, the Sixers beat the Raptors 121-88 to take a 3-2 lead in that playoff series. AI had himself a night on the same night that he received his MVP trophy from David Stern. He went off for 52 points, 7 assists, and 4 steals. It was the second time in that playoff series that he scored 50 or more points, joining Michael Jordan as the only players to score 52 points at the time. I didn't necessarily do the research to see if people have done it since, but at the time, only 2 people had scored 50 points in the same playoff series, Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson. AI did it on 21 for 32 shooting, went 8 for 14 from three-point range, which still the 8 three-pointers and I believe the 14 attempts are both Sixers playoff records. Only shot 2 free throws. If you remember AI, he was big in driving and getting to the line. Only shot 2 free throws on that day. Sixers would win this series in 7 games. Toronto would go back up to Toronto and just blow out the Sixers. I remember in that game 6, setting up the game 7, which the Sixers won pretty. I'm trying to think. I forget what. No, this was the game or the game 7 that they almost. Vince Carter almost hit the shot. It was the Bucks game 7 that they won pretty handily. So this was a very, very good series. But on this day, Sixers take a 3-2 lead over the Raptors. AI going for 52. Becoming the second player to score 50 points in the same playoff series. All right, and finally today, our Philly Sports Summertime playlist. Now, before I get into today's song, I was asked, is this going to be a Spotify playlist? And the answer to that is yes. So far, the only songs I've not been able to add to it, and I'll release it and put it in the description once it's complete, was not able to find on Spotify, Buddy's Watching You or Phillies Fever. Maybe at some point somebody can add that to Spotify, but this will be available once it's complete on June 1st. With this one, hopefully we can get some of those positive vibes going and get Aaron Nola and Bryce Harper kind of back into the groove and having some fun. Very controversial song here, but Dancing on My Own by Calum Scott, the Tiesto remix, released in 2010, made it up to number 3 on the Billboard Dance Club song list. And obviously we know this was the Phillies anthem from 2022 and for the 2022 and 2023 season. Played in the locker rooms, got rid of it in 2023. All of a sudden, they put it back on and they turned things around and went on a run. So let's bring back some of those vibes. Not advocating bringing back Garrett Stubbs yet, but I'm not opposed to it either. But Dancing on My Own by Calum Scott, the Tiesto remix, is today's Philly Sports playlist song of the day. And then, of course, I've been giving you a bonus song. And today's bonus song is Cold Heart by Dua Lipa and Elton John. Not really a reason for this other than I like this song. It's a good summer playlist song at the beach, the mountains, the pool, whatever. I mean, Elton John did sing Philadelphia Freedom, which is on our playlist anyway. But happy Friday, everybody. That's our bonus song, Cold Heart by Dua Lipa and Elton John, to go along with Dancing on My Own by Calum Scott. Like I said, we're putting something on this playlist for everybody. This is certainly we've covered a lot of bases so far, and we're only halfway through the month. On this day in 1980, Sixers lose to the Lakers 123-107, losing out on their chance to win an NBA championship when Magic Johnson started at center for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and just dashed the hopes and dreams of Sixers fans everywhere. But then in 2001, Sixers beat the Raptors. AI goes for 52 for the second time in this series as the Sixers take a 3-2 lead. Trivia question, don't forget, what 3 Phillies have won Gold Gloves at third base? We'll have more on the Phillies Pirates tomorrow. Don't forget to go to Philly Goat, go to the Discord channel, say hello, leave some comments, talk some trash, whatever you want to do in there. It's all fair game. If you're going to the Stotesbury Regatta, enjoy. It is a fun time. Let me know your thoughts in the Discord channel on AI's prediction of the Eagles going 13-4, winning the division, and then losing in overtime in the divisional round to the Detroit Lions. Told you we had a big show. It's a feel-good Friday. That's all good. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for May 16th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Friday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.